Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael, and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a throwaway account in the relationship advice subreddit. The post is titled, "My husband 29M knocked out my brother 28M for calling me a Now my parents want me to choose." This past weekend, my husband and I were over at my parents' house for a BQ. The day was going great until my brother, for some reason, started to have a go at me, calling me names and belittling me. My husband pulled my brother aside and had a talk with him, and the insults stopped. An hour or so later, we were standing around talking with some friends and family members when my brother came up to me and told me I'm a whore. His exact words were, "You know you are a whore, right?" He said it loud enough for almost everyone at the party to hear. All I saw was my husband next to me look at me, then I felt a push to the side as my husband stepped in front of me. The next thing I knew, my brother was out cold on the ground with blood on his face. All I heard was my mother yelling and my husband saying, "You don't talk to my wife like that. I warned you already." Before I continue, my husband didn't hurt me. He didn't push me hard or anything like that. I don't know how to describe it, but it was like a push that someone will give you when they are trying to pass. I went like one step back, that is all. I am not mad at my husband, I'm mad at my brother. The whole day he was demeaning me, insulting me, belittling me. I don't know where this came from, as he has never talked to me like that or to anyone that I know of. The bigger problem I have is that I have to choose, either my husband or my parents. My parents are angry and have given me an ultimatum. I either leave my husband and divorce him or they cut me off completely. My husband doesn't care that they are mad. The only thing he is upset about is that he only got one punch in his words. I love my husband and don't want to lose him, but I also don't want to lose my parents. They have supported me through a lot and have always been there for me. I know they are serious, as this is the first time they have ever issued me with an ultimatum. They also threatened my husband with an assault charge, but he doesn't care and welcomed them to do it. I'm stuck between a decision that will change my life forever, and I'm panicking. I have received messages from friends and other family members that have given me support and condemned my husband, but they are leaning more on the support side. Any advice will be appreciated. Edit to clarify. I am choosing my husband. I have never questioned that, but I also don't want to lose my family. I am very family oriented, and family to me is everything. I want to find a solution where I can keep both. User Cultural Shape said, "Ask your parents why they think you should choose them when they've already made it clear they'll choose your brother no matter what he does to you." User Square Minimum said, "Choose your husband, he's the one who stuck up for you. Your useless parents let your brother speak to you that way." Under this comment, User Tight Shift said, "Respond to your parents that they already made the decision for you when they decided it was okay for their golden child son to denigrate you in the presence of many others and then failed you by not defending you and your honor. The only one who defended you was your husband. The rest of them can go to hell." User Spare Door said, "Is this a real question? Your husband just decided to defend you and take on your family issues and fights. Not many would do that. You have to ask if you even care about him if you're not going to back him. Family will come around eventually. You just have to give it time and probably a little distance first." For some, it could take a long time for grudges to heal, but again, be patient until cooler heads prevail. Talk with your husband and make decisions together. I'm sure it will resolve eventually. Later that day, OP provided an update. First, I would like to thank everyone, and I want to apologize as well for the way I worded my post. It's no excuse, but my emotional state isn't the best. I'm unable to link my previous post. Just look on the account. My husband is my choice, and I have no intention of leaving him at all. I never have. I know it's early for an update, but I'm more confused now about what is going on. My parents invited me over to talk with them, but they wanted me to come alone as they didn't want my husband at their house. My husband refused to let me go alone and said that if he wasn't going, then he wouldn't allow me to. He basically said that if I went alone, they would just pile on me and he wouldn't let that happen, so we went together. My parents weren't happy to see him, and my mother wanted to say something until my husband told her he wasn't there for them but for me. He said that if he was forced to leave, I would leave with him. I agreed with him. Reluctantly, they agreed. My brother was there as well. He has a broken nose and chipped teeth and refused to look at me or my husband. He just kept looking at the ground even while talking. Apparently, what happened with my brother is that he broke up with his girlfriend a month ago. It's more like she broke up with him. I don't know the reason and don't care. I wasn't aware of this since we aren't close like that. According to him, the reason he lashed out at me this weekend is because my perfect life with my husband kept popping up on his feeds and he got jealous. jealous. Everything on my social media is about my husband. I don't really use it for anything else, but his feed was full of my posts, which set him off because I had something that he didn't. It got worse when he overheard me talking with my mother about children. My husband and I are currently trying to have a baby, and that just made everything worse in his head. His life was falling apart while mine was going perfectly, and I had what he wanted with his ex. He said he didn't take my husband seriously when he pulled him aside and warned him. I seriously don't know why he went after me, since nothing he said was true in any sense. I asked him why he made those comments, but he refused to answer me. I asked him about the comment because he knows my husband was my first in everything and that it has only been him all these years. He still refused to answer. I asked him if trying to have a baby with my husband makes me a since it involves sex, and then he just left the room. I asked my parents why they didn't step in and tell my brother to leave or stop. My dad said he wanted to, but my mother told him to leave my brother be as he was not actually hurting anyone. The same went for the ultimatum. They wanted to protect my brother. I asked what about me, and they were silent. All my father said was that the ultimatum was my mother's idea and that he went along with it. This is basically where we are at the moment. A lot more was said, but I don't think it matters. My husband did apologize to my parents for what happened, but refused to apologize to my brother. When my mother asked him to apologize to my brother, he outright said no. He won't apologize for standing up for me, and my brother got what he deserved. He was warned and didn't listen. My mother said it still doesn't excuse him for hitting my brother. My husband asked my dad what he would do if someone called his wife a my father said, I will have a talk with that person, but I will never hit someone. My husband laughed and told my dad he was a weak-willed, spineless man if he allowed someone to demean his wife like that. That made my mom turn red in the face. I could see her getting angry. That's when I told my husband it was time to leave. I told my parents that I would be going low contact with them and that the ultimatum they gave me broke the trust I had in them. I understand they wanted to protect my brother, but in doing that, they hurt me. This seemed to take all the anger out of my mother. They asked if I would be cutting them out completely, and I told them that was up to them. I don't want anything to do with my brother at the moment, as he can't even apologize for what he said to me. I told them if they could respect my wishes, we would see. When we got up to leave, my husband went over to my parents and actually greeted them politely, but told my dad it's time to grow a backbone. I don't know what I saw, but I think there was shame on my mother's face because my dad looked at her and she looked away from him. This is where we are at the moment. On the way back home, my husband apologized for possibly escalating things, but told me it was time someone told my dad the truth. He said whatever punishment comes, he will take it and deal with any fallout. I don't need to worry or stress about anything. Edit. My brother's ex cheated on him and apparently he begged her to fix things, but she chose the other guy. Now he is just pissed and angry at every woman and believes we will all do that eventually. I got a message from my cousin saying the family had a go at my parents for allowing my brother to talk to me the way he did, and they came clean about why he did what he did, but they couldn't be honest with me when I was over there. They just refused to answer. User Ashamed Director said, the fact that your brother openly admitted he didn't take your husband seriously when he told him to wind his neck in shows that he has never faced a consequence in his life. He's used to getting away with whatever he wants. User Winterfront said, your husband is amazing. He is completely right. You are his wife, his other half. What kind of man would stand by and let someone belittle and call his wife names? All I read was that your parents care more about your sad sack of a brother for being dumped. I would 100% cut your brother off even if he apologizes, and let it be known to the whole family that any event he attends, you will not be there. This goes for your future child as well. If anyone ever makes your husband feel unwelcome again, they'll be cut off too. User Certain Albatross said, what a weird, toxic family dynamic. I think your husband escalated things beyond what was necessary by insulting your father, but I will try to give some grace because tensions and emotions were high, and your parents were acting irrationally. Low contact with them and no contact with your brother is definitely the way to go. He owes you both a real apology, and he needs to be in therapy if seeing somebody else happy makes him behave like this. I would never begrudge my siblings for being in relationships when I'm single. This next post was made by a throwaway account. The post is titled AITAH for being upset at my wife after she invited her ex to my birthday party. She didn't even ask me. I'm a 29-year-old man and my wife is 30. We have been together for 5 years. We met each other during a seminar, clicked immediately, started dating, and eventually got married. My wife had already told me that she was in a very serious relationship with her school friend, who was the brother of one of her female friends. They were planning to get married, but she fell out of love with him and they broke up when he went abroad for education and a job. She hasn't seen him in the past 9 years. Enough backstory. 5 days ago was my birthday. We wanted to do something special, so we had been planning for it for a month. We were on a tight budget as well, so we discussed who we were inviting. Essentially, we agreed to invite both our families, including extended family, as well as some of our neighbors and friends and colleagues. Only those we know though. On that day, I didn't know if my wife had invited her ex as well, which was a shock to me when I saw him. I called my wife to meet me upstairs and asked her what he was doing there. She said he came with her sister. I told her we would discuss it later. At my party, I saw him hugging my wife and he greeted and hugged me as well. We talked just out of formality while my wife spent time with her friends, and he also joined them because he was part of the friend circle. Anyway, after the party, I confronted my wife and asked her what she was thinking. She asked me what I meant. I asked her why her ex was there when I had never met him before and why she hadn't told me. She said he came back for a few months on holiday and her friend urged her to invite him. I told my wife that she should have discussed it with me. It's my birthday party and I should have the right to decide who joins and who doesn't. This isn't just some random guy, it's your ex. She said it wasn't that big of a deal because it was only for a few hours. She claimed she didn't tell me because she knew I would object, because she knows me, and she wanted all of her friends to be invited. I completely lost my temper when she said that. I asked if she had any idea how it feels to see your partner's ex on your special day, especially when it's the first time. Would she be okay if I invited my ex to her birthday party without telling her? What if my ex was hugging me and laughing with me? It was supposed to be my special day, and she ruined it by inviting her ex. I couldn't stop thinking about their past together and what he might have done to her. Would I be thrilled to see a man who had been intimate with my wife on my special day? It would be one thing if we were on friendly terms and knew each other. She started sobbing and said I was blowing things out of proportion. It wasn't that serious and I was hurting her with my words. We haven't talked to each other for the past couple of days. She told her parents and sister about our argument, and they said I was overreacting and that it wasn't a big deal. I simply told them that if I invited one of my exes to her birthday party without telling her, would she like it? They said that I would just be taking revenge. I explained that I wouldn't hurt her intentionally. Rather, she should have thought about how this might affect me. So, am I the AH here? User Damsel Kitty said NTA. It's your birthday and your wife should have discussed inviting her ex with you, especially knowing it could be uncomfortable. Her dismissive attitude toward your feelings further compounds the issue. Under this comment, OP said, I thought the same. I would have agreed to her demand to invite her ex to my party, but she didn't even tell me. I believe that for a healthy relationship, proper discussion between couples is essential, and it's important to respect each other's boundaries. I never had the chance to set a boundary regarding her ex because he wasn't around at all. He was in God knows which country. However, my wife clearly didn't consider my feelings when she decided that a proper discussion wasn't necessary. At this point, I am doubting my marriage. It seems she doesn't want to communicate with me about something this significant, and when I asked how she would feel if I did the same, she clearly disagreed with the idea. A deleted user said, the fact that she told you why she didn't tell you about it says everything. She knows she shouldn't have invited him without asking you. User Jackson Love said NTA. Even if you take your birthday out of the equation, it was still absolutely inappropriate for her to invite her ex anywhere without discussing it with you first. She has clearly prioritized his and her friend's feelings over her own husband's. It was inappropriate and wrong. I bet she would be just as livid if you did the same thing, which is why she won't give you a straight answer to that question. Now she's trying to sweep it under the rug and act like the victim because you're upset. She is completely dismissing your feelings and taking no responsibility for her foolish, inappropriate decision. A few days later, OP provided an update. First of all, I want to thank everyone for their advice. I tried my best not to overthink, but after reading the comments, I couldn't shake the feeling that something is wrong. I tried so hard to deny it, but I just couldn't. Today, I went to my wife and asked her to unlock her phone and give it to me. She responded with multiple questions as if it were an interrogation, asking why I wanted to check her phone, if I didn't trust her, or if I had gone crazy because of my jealousy, among other things. The more I think about it, the angrier I get. After pressuring her for a while, she finally gave me her phone. I checked her texts and social media messages but couldn't find anything at all. So I went to her group text chat and discovered that my wife and her ex had been meeting alone frequently ever since he came back. He was also invited whenever she went out with her friends, but she never told me. I asked her, "What is this?" She replied, "What?" I pressed her further, asking why she met him alone and why she never mentioned any of this. Why hadn't she told me that she and her friends invited her ex and hung out together? My wife said it's not what I think it is. She claimed he's not just her ex, but a longtime friend. They've known each other for years, even before she met me. She accused me of being a jealous, controlling man and insisted there was nothing suspicious about their meetings. I told her that I love and trust her, but that she shouldn't take me for a fool. There's no reason for her to be alone with her ex behind my back, especially since I don't even know who this guy is. Who is he, and why is he talking to my wife behind my back? Why is my wife defending him? In frustration, I said I was leaving and that we were getting a divorce. My wife started crying and said that I don't trust her and that it's not what I think it is. I wanted to calm her down, but instead I just started walking toward the door. My wife grabbed me and got angry, saying that we could talk and fix the misunderstanding, but I told her that I wasn't ready to talk and was running out of patience. I asked her to leave me alone. If she wanted to be with him, I wouldn't object, and I would pray for a happy life for her. I went to live with my sister and told her everything that happened. I must have ranted for a long time. She just listened without saying much. In the end, she said that my wife was definitely hiding something and that my suspicions were correct. She hugged me and consoled me as I drowned in my own thoughts. My sister noticed that I seemed overwhelmed. She said she could feel that I wanted to cry and encouraged me to vent instead of bottling it all up inside. Then she started crying herself. To be honest, I really do want to cry, but I'm too proud to show this weaker side of myself. I've come here anonymously because I've done so much for my wife. She always threw lavish parties for others. But when I wanted to do the same after years of supporting her, she betrayed me in the worst way possible. There were 1,000 different ways she could have hurt me, but she chose the worst one. So here I am, drinking and thinking about what went wrong and where I went wrong, living with my sister like a loser in my 30s. Then, a few days after that, OP gave us his final update. I apologize if this is too long. I'm just suffering and overthinking so much that I can't think clearly. I tried my best to keep it as short as possible. At my birthday party, my wife decided to invite her ex, which upset me because I had been looking forward to celebrating for a long time. I confronted her about it, and she insisted there was nothing going on and that I was just being jealous. Later, I asked her for her phone, and in her friend's group chat, I discovered that ever since he came back, she had been meeting him alone. Whenever she went out with her friends, he was invited, but not me. They didn't even tell me about it. After this betrayal, I left my house and went to live with my sister, who is taking care of me emotionally and physically. I told her I'm divorcing my wife. Yesterday, my wife called me and asked to meet. I said no and told her to say whatever she wanted over the phone. She could not have chosen a worse time to call me and upset me. I was drunk and crying. I don't blame her for calling so early since it was only 11 a.m. She started off by saying she was sorry and would do anything to win me back. She swore she hadn't talked to him until he got back and that her friends had reintroduced them, which led to reminiscing. She proposed that we should get back together and fix our marriage. She promised never to talk to him again and suggested we move to a different state to start fresh. I really wanted to forgive her, but this angered me so much. I started calling her names and cursing at her like it was raining insults. Everything I had held inside came pouring out. I called her a lying, cheating, manipulative dog. After everything I did for her, wanting to isolate me from my family and keep me under her control, how could she be with her ex? I worked hard for her and sacrificed everything, only for her to take advantage of my love for her. I swore that even if I went broke and had to beg on the streets, I would expose her and divorce her. If it were something else, I might have forgiven her in a heartbeat, but she was with her ex-fiancé while I was working hard for her and giving her most of my money. It made me feel like a pushover. After ranting, I hung up on her while she cried. Feeling stupid for falling for her lies, I immediately told everyone what was going on, which is quite embarrassing for her. I shared what I found in the text, and many of her family members, mostly cousins, called me to reassure me that they would help. They said they were as shocked as I was when they saw him and could see it on my face, but hadn't said anything at the time. They They promised their support except for her mom. She started saying in our family chat that I was lying, jealous, and ruining her daughter's life, among many other things. Her father called me too. He apologized and said he knew I wasn't lying. He expressed disappointment in how my mother-in-law and wife were acting, but mentioned he had to take his family's side while remaining neutral and wouldn't help me legally. I said I understood. When I told my sister what happened, she hugged me tightly, like for 10 hours, and cried, saying she felt like she had failed as a sister for not running background checks on my wife instead of trusting her. She kept comforting me by saying it wasn't her fault. My sister promised that next time she would find a good woman for me, she would hook me up with one of her friends because women would be lining up for a good man like me. Even though I'm suffering so much right now, I'm still defending my wife, which is rare. I'm not sure if that's true or if she was just trying to comfort me, but dating or getting remarried is the least of my concerns right now. I'm just grateful that my sister is here helping me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to type this out at all. My sister said that she had already talked to a lawyer, a very good one who is her friend, but didn't tell me because I was not in the right place. She informed me that in our country, there's a mandatory 1-year cool-off period and mandatory counseling at least twice a month. If I don't appear for counseling, the judge might think that I'm unreasonable. Since I have no proof of her affair, the divorce might even take years or even a decade. Even if we prove her infidelity, she will still receive alimony because cheating does not revoke her rights to alimony from her husband in our country, which pissed me off even more. What I'm glad about is that my sister mentioned her friend has found a loophole. She will charge us a very large amount, and considering how many months or years we might fight and the sessions involved, it will drain 90% of my money. However, she will either give us back some later or provide cash if we need it. I'm so grateful to have a sister who loves me so much and surrounds herself with smart people like her. However, the pain I am feeling is not going away and will likely stay with me for a long time. The worst part about drinking is that even if you drink all day, you just keep overthinking unless you drink until you pass out. Edit, I thank you all for your help and time. I am so grateful for your well wishes, and I hope that none of you go through what I have experienced. I wish you all good luck. I will start focusing on myself, go to sleep, and stop drinking while thinking about my future. As glad as I am to receive support from hundreds of strangers, it also makes me think that there are hundreds of strangers willing to support and help me, but the only woman I ever desired this from, who was my everything and with whom I wanted to spend my whole life, didn't support me and betrayed me. I will come back here to read the messages for comfort whenever I need it, and provide updates after my divorce, which might take years. I read someone say that even if it's just an emotional affair, I cannot tolerate it. I have no way to prove or be sure she is cheating on me because she was with him alone or with her friends. The way she and her friends hid it all makes me assume she still loves her ex-fiancé. Otherwise, she wouldn't hide it from me. Nobody should tolerate an emotional affair, and there's no justice whether it's a man or a woman. I thought this was just a stereotype, but now I know my country is hated for a reason. Good luck to everyone, and I truly appreciate every one of you. User Still Actuator said, I'm so sorry you are going through this, and I wish you the best. I'm glad you have made the choice to divorce. And follow all of the lawyer's advice. That will help you even if it sucks. Under this comment, OP said, I will do so. I would rather die than have someone like her as my life partner. If they are bad, even if you do everything for them, then they are still bad. What was the word cuck, right? I guess I got cucked. I just didn't know. It's as funny as it is disappointing. I will never again give my all and trust blindly in another woman. User Taiwan Bandit said, I feel your pain, OP, but stop drinking and pull yourself together. Get outside for some fresh air. Listen to your sister and her lawyer friend. I would recommend getting that agreement in writing about paying all that money up front though. Take it day by day for now, OP. You will get through this. Go for long walks, biking, hiking, or to the gym. Anything to keep your mind off her. Take care, OP. You will be a survivor too. Under this comment, OP said, I will stop drinking because I need to be able to think straight if I'm going to be at war with her for years. I just wanted to share this somewhere. I might post again, but most of you who supported me might not be here because the proceedings won't start until we reach the 1-year mark after filing. It might take half a decade or more. I don't know. Most of the people who call my country a shithole say that for a reason. Now, even I agree that I was born in a shithole. There's no justice, just pain for a victim. User Contribution Ornery said, NTA. If divorce is that hard, then don't divorce her yet. Tell her you'll have to move somewhere completely new, not near her family and not near yours. You need her phone open and she must irrevocably cut things off with him. You want her to pay for the move and she will never speak to another man you haven't met and approved of. In addition, she will allow you to have every Saturday night to yourself and she will never criticize you for it. She simply does not get to have her own time from now on until she proves her faithfulness. Then use those Saturdays to slowly take funds from the marriage. Take $300 out with you. Spend $100 and no more. Put the other $200 in cash somewhere safe. If you accumulate enough money to leave for a new life before you forgive her, then just leave.